Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. I still remember the smell of rain the night I left. It mixed with the damp concrete and the cheap coffee I poured into a travel mug. Hands shaking, heart hollow. My name's Daniel Reed, and 5 years ago, I walked out of my marriage without a single word, leaving behind a woman who once swore that I was her forever. People think betrayal erupts in one loud explosion. It doesn't. It starts quietly, with glances that last too long, with laughter that isn't meant for you, with phones turned face down on the table. For months, I convinced myself I was paranoid. Emily was busy, she said. Work was demanding, she said. I told myself love changes shape, that routine kills spark, that grown-ups don't need constant reassurance. But the truth had already moved into our house, sleeping between us every night. The proof came on a Thursday. I'd taken the afternoon off to surprise her with tickets to the lake cabin we loved. When I pulled into her office parking lot, she wasn't there. Her car was parked 2 streets down behind a diner, and through the glass I saw her, my wife, leaning across a booth, fingers tangled with another man's. They looked comfortable, like this wasn't the first time. He smiled at her the way I used to. She smiled back as if nothing in the world could touch them. I didn't burst in. I didn't shout. I just stood there long enough to memorize the way betrayal looks when it's relaxed. Then I drove home, packed a bag, and erased myself from her life. No note, no goodbye, just the echo of the front door closing. For weeks she called nonstop. At first it was confusion, then apologies, then anger, and finally silence. My friends called me crazy for disappearing without closure. Maybe I was. But I'd spent years giving explanations she didn't listen to. Leaving was the only sentence that couldn't be twisted. I started over in Portland, under a different rhythm. Changed numbers, sold my old truck, deleted social media. I rented a small place near the docks and took a job restoring old furniture. There's something healing about sanding away years of damage until the grain shows clean again. Maybe I thought if I fixed enough broken tables, I'd understand how to fix myself. The first year hurt like withdrawal. I'd reach across the bed expecting her hair on the pillow, her laugh in the morning. Sometimes I'd catch myself composing texts I'd never send. But pain, if you sit with it long enough, becomes instruction. I learned silence, patience, self-respect, the things I traded for love. By the second year, I could remember her without anger. By the third, I could even wish her well. Life became simple. Coffee in the morning, work till dusk, the sea wind instead of small talk. I thought that was the end of our story. But endings are only endings when both people agree to stop writing. It was a cold Sunday in November when the past came knocking, literally. I just finished refinishing a walnut desk when someone rang the shop bell. I wiped my hands, expecting a customer, and froze. There she was, standing in the doorway, wrapped in a gray coat, eyes wide like she'd seen a ghost. "Daniel," she whispered. I hadn't heard my name in her voice for 5 years. For a second, I thought I'd imagined her. She looked older, thinner, the kind of tired that doesn't come from work but from carrying regret too long. "I finally found you," she said, half laughing, half crying. I didn't move. My pulse hammered in my throat, yet my mind felt detached, calm. "Why are you here, Emily?" She stepped closer. "Because I never stopped looking. Because I need to tell you." I raised a hand. "Stop." The word hung between us like a cracked bell. I could see the memories flicker across her face. The day I left, the silence that followed, every unanswered message. For a moment she looked small. Not the woman who'd once broken me, but someone unsure how to exist without the version of me she destroyed. She opened her mouth again, voice trembling. "I made a mistake, Daniel. The biggest one of my life. I thought I could live with it, but I can't. Please, just let me explain. I should have told her to leave. I should have turned back to my workbench and kept the life I'd built untouched. But closure is a tricky thing. Even when you think you don't need it, curiosity can still whisper louder than pride. So I nodded toward the small wooden stool near the wall. 5 minutes, I said. Then you go. She sat, clutching her coat like armor. The air smelled of varnish and rain, the same scent as the night I left. She took a breath. After you disappeared, I tried to hate you. I told everyone you were cruel, that you abandoned me without reason. But the truth followed me everywhere. I saw you in every empty chair, every Sunday morning. He left after 3 months, said I was obsessed with a ghost. I stared at the floor, not trusting myself to speak. Every anniversary, she continued softly, I wrote you letters, never mailed them, just kept them. She pulled a bundle of yellowed envelopes from her bag, tied with string. I thought maybe if I found you, I could give them to you. Maybe you'd know how sorry I am. 5 years of silence, wrapped in paper and guilt. I looked at the bundle, then at her. What do you want from me, Emily? Her eyes filled instantly. Forgiveness, or at least a chance to try. And there it was, the sentence that could reopen every wound I'd spent half a decade healing. Forgiveness, such a small word to carry so much weight. I had turned it over in my mind countless times during those first years alone. I had imagined what I'd say if she ever stood in front of me again. I thought I'd be ready, calm, wise, maybe even indifferent. But there's no script for the sound of the person who broke you asking for grace. I folded my arms. Emily, forgiveness isn't something I owe you. It's something I gave myself a long time ago. Her face fell. Then why can't you look at me? Because part of me still remembered her laugh echoing in the kitchen. The way she'd hum while making coffee. The warmth of her hand on my shoulder when life got hard. Those memories didn't vanish. They just went quiet. And now, with her standing there, they started making noise again. I looked for you everywhere, she said, voice cracking. Your number changed, your friends wouldn't talk, your family said they didn't know. Do you have any idea what that does to a person? I almost laughed, not from humor but disbelief. You mean like finding out your spouse is holding someone else's hand in a diner 2 streets away? She flinched, eyes glistening. I deserved that. I deserved worse. For a long time, neither of us spoke. The clock on the wall ticked too loudly. Outside, rain began to fall again, tapping against the shop window. I'm not here to make excuses, she said finally. What I did was unforgivable. I need you to know I became someone I don't even recognize. After you left, everything collapsed. The house felt like a museum of what I'd ruined. I sold it, tried moving, tried dating, but nothing felt real. I thought maybe if I could find you, I could apologize before time ran out. Time, I repeated quietly. She hesitated, then whispered, I'm sick, Daniel. The words landed like stones. Sick. Stage 2 lymphoma, she said. They caught it early, but it's been a year of treatments. I'm doing better, but when you spend months staring at hospital ceilings, you start thinking about the people you hurt. And there was only one name that wouldn't stop echoing. I felt something shift inside me. Not love, not pity, but recognition. The woman sitting before me wasn't the same one who'd betrayed me. She was smaller, stripped of arrogance, carrying her mistakes like visible scars. She looked up. I'm not asking for another chance. I just wanted to tell you that I'm sorry, and that I still love you, even if it's too late to matter. I exhaled slowly. You know, for a long time I thought about what closure meant. I imagined yelling or maybe forgiving you face to face. But the truth is, closure doesn't come from someone else's apology. It comes from realizing you survived without it. She nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. You always had more strength than me. Not strength, I said. Just time. I picked up the bundle of letters from the table. The paper smelled faintly of perfume, old and faded. I didn't open them. Do you want me to keep these? She shook her head. No, I think I just needed to hand them over. You can burn them, throw them away, whatever you want. They're yours now. I set them down carefully. I'll read them. Not today, but someday. Her lips curved into a trembling smile. That's more than I hoped for. We sat in silence again, the kind that used to fill our home. But this time it didn't feel hostile. It felt like a space between two lives that had finally stopped overlapping. After a while she stood. I should go. I walked her to the door. She hesitated, glancing up at me. "You look happy, Daniel. I'm glad you found peace." "I did," I said. "And I hope you do too." She nodded, eyes glistening one last time, then turned and walked out into the rain. I watched her cross the street until she disappeared into the gray afternoon. When I closed the door, the shop felt different, lighter somehow. The ghosts that had lived in the corners all these years seemed to fade with the sound of her footsteps. That night, I took the letters to the small fire pit behind the workshop. I didn't plan to read them. I just held them for a while, feeling the weight of 5 years of silence pressed into paper. Then I lit a match. The flame caught, slow at first, then faster, curling the edges until the words turned into smoke. I didn't feel triumph. I didn't feel revenge. Just release. People think healing ends when you stop hurting. It doesn't. It ends when the past finally stops asking for attention. As the fire dimmed, I realized something. I had already forgiven her long before she came back. Forgiveness isn't about the person who broke you. It's about freeing yourself from the version of you that kept waiting for an apology. I walked back inside, closed the door, and looked around the quiet shop. The rain had stopped, leaving the air sharp and clean. For the first time in years, I felt completely, unmistakably free.